Ladies and gentlemen, imagine this high above the clouds at 30,000 feet. A plane hurtles through the sky, and suddenly, chaos erupts. A woman collapses in the aisle, her face pale as death clutching her chest. Passengers scream, flight attendants panic. But one man, a single dad with calloused hands and a heart full of quiet strength, leaps into action. He saves her life right there in the cramped cabin. But what happens next? It doesn't just change their lives, it shocks everyone on board. Stick around for this incredible, true, inspired tale of heroism, heartbreak, and humanity. If stories like this move you, hit that like button right now. It helps us bring more inspiring content your way. And if you're not subscribed yet, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Alright, let's dive into the story. A single dad saved a billionaire at 30,000 feet. What happened next shocked the cabin. It all started on a crisp autumn morning at JFK Airport in New York. The terminal buzzed with the usual chaos. Business travelers tapping away on laptops, families herding kids with overstuffed backpacks, and solo flyers like Mark Thompson, a 38-year-old single dad from a small town in Ohio. Mark wasn't the type to seek adventure. Life had already thrown enough curveballs his way. 5 years ago, his wife, Sarah, had passed away from a rare heart condition, leaving him to raise their 2 kids, 8-year-old Lily and 6-year-old Ben, on his own. He worked as a paramedic in their hometown, pulling double shifts to make ends meet. But today was different. He was flying to Los Angeles for a mandatory training conference, his first time away from the kids in months. His sister was watching them back home, and Mark's stomach twisted with guilt as he boarded Flight 247, a red-eye bound for the West Coast. Mark settled into his economy seat 23B, aisle side. He pulled out a worn photo from his wallet. Sarah smiling with the kids at a park picnic, and whispered a quiet promise. "I'll be back soon." Guys, the plane filled up quickly. Across the aisle in first class, separated by that flimsy curtain, sat Elena Vasquez, the billionaire tech mogul whose face graced magazine covers worldwide. At 45, Elena was a force of nature, founder of Vasquez Innovations, a company revolutionizing AI for healthcare. She was worth over $5 billion, but her life was a whirlwind of board meetings, investor calls, and endless solitude. Divorced twice, no kids, Elena poured everything into her work, often at the expense of her health. She was heading to LA for a high-stakes merger, her private jet grounded for maintenance. Forcing her onto this commercial flight, dressed in a sleek black pantsuit, she sipped champagne, reviewing spreadsheets on her tablet, oblivious to the world around her. As the plane taxied down the runway, Mark felt the familiar rumble of takeoff. He closed his eyes, trying to relax, but his mind raced with worries. Lily had a school play coming up. Ben was struggling with reading. How was he supposed to balance it all? In first class, Elena felt a twinge in her chest, a sharp pain she'd been ignoring for weeks. Just stress, she told herself, popping another antacid. The flight attendants dimmed the lights, and the plane climbed steadily to cruising altitude. Hours passed in relative calm. Mark dozed fitfully, dreaming of Sarah's laugh. Elena worked tirelessly, her screen glowing in the dark. Then, midway over the Midwest, it happened. Elena stood to stretch her legs, walking toward the galley for a refill. Suddenly, her world spun. A searing pain ripped through her chest, her vision blurred, and she collapsed in the aisle, right at the edge of economy class. Gasps echoed through the cabin. "Oh my God," a woman shrieked. Flight attendants rushed over, but panic set in. "Is there a doctor on board?" One called out desperately over the intercom. Passengers craned their necks, murmuring in fear. Mark's eyes snapped open. As a paramedic, his instincts kicked in immediately. He unbuckled his seatbelt and bolted forward, pushing past the curtain. "I'm a paramedic. Let me through." Kneeling beside Elena, Mark assessed her quickly. She was unconscious, her pulse weak and irregular. Sweat beaded on her forehead, her lips turning blue. "She's in cardiac arrest," he announced calmly, though his heart pounded. "I need the aid. Now!" A flight attendant fumbled for automated external defibrillator while Mark started CPR, his hands compressing her chest in rhythmic pumps. 1, 2, 3. He counted under his breath, drawing on years of training. Passengers watched in stunned silence. Some prayed, others filmed on their phones. Elena's body jerked with each compression, but Mark didn't stop. "Come on, stay with me," he muttered. The AED arrived and he attached the pads. Clear. The shock jolted her, but no response. He resumed CPR, sweat dripping down his face. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, on the second shock, Elena gasped, her eyes fluttering open. The cabin erupted in applause and relieved sighs. As Elena came to, disoriented and gasping, Mark helped her sit up, monitoring her vitals. "You're okay, Mom. Just breathe easy. The plane's diverting to the nearest airport." Indeed, the captain announced an emergency landing in Chicago. Elena looked up at her savior, her sharp green eyes meeting Mark's warm brown ones. You saved my life," she whispered, her voice hoarse. Mark shrugged modestly. "Just doing my job." But in that moment, something shifted. Elena, the untouchable billionaire, felt vulnerable for the first time in years. And Mark, the wary dad, felt a spark of purpose he'd lost since Sarah's death. The plane touched down in Chicago amid flashing emergency lights. Paramedics rushed on board, wheeling Elena away on a stretcher. As she was loaded into the ambulance, she grabbed Mark's hand. "What's your name?" she asked. "Mark Thompson," he replied. "Thank you, Mark. I owe you everything." He watched her go, then boarded a connecting flight to LA, his mind reeling. Little did he know, this was just the beginning. Back in LA, Elena recovered in a private suite at Cedars Sinai Hospital. Tests revealed a congenital heart defect. Ironic, given her company's focus on medical tech. As she lay there, surrounded by flowers from business associates but no family, she thought of Mark. Who was this man who'd saved her without hesitation? Using her resources, she had her assistant track him down. Within days, she learned about his life: the widowed paramedic, the struggling single dad, the modest home in Ohio where bills piled up. Elena's heart ached. She'd built an empire, but what good was it if she died alone? Inspired, she decided to repay him, not just with money, but with something meaningful. Meanwhile, Mark returned home to Ohio, hugging Lily and Ben tighter than ever. The kids bombarded him with questions about the flight. "Dad, you're a hero," Lily exclaimed, her eyes wide. But Mark downplayed it. Anyone would have done the same. Life resumed its grind shifts at the ambulance station, helping with homework, cooking dinners from scratch. Then, one evening, his phone rang, an unknown number. "Mr. Thompson, this is Elena Vasquez. I wanted to thank you properly." Mark was stunned. They talked for hours about her empire, his losses, their shared loneliness. Elena confessed her regrets. "I've chased success, but I've forgotten what matters. Connections, family." Mark shared stories of Sarah, the joy and pain of raising kids alone. A bond formed, fragile but real. What happened next shocked not just the cabin, but the world. Elena invited Mark and his kids to her sprawling Malibu mansion for a thank you weekend. Hesitant at first, Mark agreed, thinking it would be a fun adventure for Lily and Ben. They arrived wide-eyed at the oceanfront estate, with its infinity pool and private beach. Elena greeted them warmly, her usual power suit replaced by casual jeans and a sweater. "Welcome to my home," she said, hugging the kids. Over the weekend, magic unfolded. Elena, who'd never had children, played board games with Lily and built sandcastles with Ben. Mark watched, amazed, as she opened up about her own childhood. Growing up poor in Mexico, bootstrapping her way to billions through sheer grit. "I thought money would fix everything," she admitted one night over wine on the deck. "But it doesn't fill the emptiness." Challenges arose, adding emotional depth to their story. Mark struggled with the class divide. Elena's world of luxury felt alien, reminding him of his financial woes. Back home, his house needed repairs he couldn't afford. The kids' school supplies were hand-me-downs. Elena offered help, but Mark's pride balked. "I don't want charity," he said firmly. Elena respected that, instead proposing a partnership. "Help me redesign my company's heart monitoring app. Your real-world experience as a paramedic could save lives." Mark agreed, and together they brainstormed, blending her tech savvy with his frontline knowledge. But deeper issues surfaced. Elena faced backlash from her board. Rumors of her mid-air fling with a commoner threatened her image. Paparazzi hounded them, snapping photos during a family outing to Disneyland. Mark worried about exposing his kids to scrutiny. "This isn't our life," he told Elena during a heated argument. "We're simple people." Elena, tears in her eyes, revealed her vulnerability. "I've been alone so long, Mark. You and the kids, you make me feel alive." The resolution came through honest communication. They set boundaries: no public displays. Focus on friendship first. Mark taught Elena humility. She showed him ambition's rewards. As months passed, their relationship deepened. Elena visited Ohio, trading her mansion for Mark's cozy home. She cooked tacos for the kids, helped with homework, and even volunteered at the local fire station. Mark flew to her events, offering quiet support. Challenges mounted. Elena's ex-husband sued for more alimony, dredging up old pains. Mark's boss questioned his distractions, threatening his job, but they faced them together. In a pivotal moment during a storm that flooded Mark's home, Elena arrived unannounced with contractors, not to fix it with money, but to work alongside him hammer in hand. "We're in this together," she said. The climax shocked everyone. At a gala for Vasquez Innovations, Elena announced a new foundation, the Thompson Vasquez Heart Health Initiative, funded by her billions but led by Mark's expertise. On stage, she recounted the flight, crediting him publicly. "This man didn't just save my life, he saved my soul." The audience gasped as Mark joined her, the single dad in a borrowed tux beside the billionaire. They shared a kiss, subtle but electric, shocking the room. Whispers turned to applause. Back in the cabin of their lives, friends and family were stunned. How did this happen? Resolution brought peace. Mark and Elena married in a quiet Ohio ceremony, blending their worlds. She moved part-time to his town, building a community center for single parents. The kids thrived with a new mom figure, though Elena never replaced Sarah. Mark's career soared. He trained paramedics nationwide using Elena's tech. Challenges like blending families and public eye persisted, but love resolved them. Lily's school play became a family affair. Ben's reading improved with Elena's patient tutoring. In the end, this story isn't about a rescue at 30,000 feet. It's about second chances, the power of human connection, and how one act of kindness can bridge worlds. Mark and Elena proved that heroes come in everyday forms, and true wealth lies in love, not money. As they watched sunsets from their blended home, Elena whispered, "You saved me more than once." Mark smiled, "We saved each other." And that's the tale, folks. If this story touched your heart, give it a thumbs up, it means the world. Subscribe for more uplifting narratives that remind us of life's miracles. What's your takeaway? Comment below. Until next time, keep believing in the unexpected.